want to record this.
Oh, wait. Maybe I did it now.
Ah, it's recording.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to turn this over to Tiffany. Take it away, girlfriend.
Okay. Man, I'm excited. Today was just a crazy day. Anybody else feel like May, June with kids is just like, have you seen the Holderness video with the May-cember? It's like the second worst month compared to December. We had school. I have officially a 6-year moving up party. So, okay. So I really have a heart to share time management and organization with everybody. But my experience is coaching working moms. So I have a few resources that I'm going to post in the pages, in our team pages. And just keep in mind, they're written for working moms. So if you don't fit that criteria, you can still get some knowledge from them. But I just wanted to give you that as a, upfront. They are made for moms, but you don't have to be a mom and still, oh, sorry. I'm getting messages. I don't know how to do that, Melody. But you, if you're not a working mom, that's okay. You're still going to get some good information from that. You just need to disregard. And then I also have a printable that is, it's like a goal tracker. So it's kind of like, if you've ever used Power Sheets, it's kind of a smaller version of that gives you a way to track your goals. So my feeling on time management and organization is there are 6 strategies that can kind of help you to get started. And know that I run into so many people that are like, well, I'm not like you. I'm not organized. Well, I wasn't organized either, but I feel like for me, like to be successful in a business like this, we need to treat it like a business. And that means being organized. I mean, most CEOs, if they're not organized, they hire an assistant to be organized for them. Like we have to at some point decide to change and to be better so that we can run our business efficiently. So it doesn't take all of our time. Like who wants to do this 40 hours a week? Like that's not what this is meant for. And so we need to focus on the things that are bringing us income and then work efficiently so that we're not working our businesses 20 hours a day, because we don't want that either. Sorry. I'm learning how to, I don't know how to mute people. Okay, so strategy number 1 is mindset and guilt. This is really like the hardest part for me. That's why I like to put it as the first strategy to start with, because if you start your day and you're already like, oh, there is no way that I'm going to get this done. I'm a failure. I can't figure this out. I'm not going to get anything on my to-do list, accomplish, whatever. If you are starting your day in that mindset, then how are you going to succeed? Like, how are you going to grow and how are you going to hit your goals if you aren't starting in that space? If you could mute if you're not on mute, that'd be great, because I can't figure out how to do it. So I'm just going to let you all know. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but okay. So mindset. The other part of that is guilt. I feel like so many times, especially in a business like this, we compare our business where we're at to all of the other people around us. And this business is going to look different for all of us. So we need to stop comparing, stop putting the guilt on ourselves, stop shaming on ourselves. So saying, I should be doing this, or I should be where she is, or I should be like this for this rank, or I should be adding this many people to my business every month, whatever. Start with where you're at, change your mindset, say, give yourself some grace, work the system like it's meant to be worked, and then relish in your accomplishments and your success. So don't compare or put guilt on yourself, because that's just going to pull your mindset down. You're not going to do anything. You're not going to be able to get to the next level if you're constantly stuck in that place where you don't want to move to the next. Sounds like there's a zipper.
Lisa, could you mute yourself? We can hear your dog.
Is that what it is? A dog?
I think so.
It sounds like a zipper is being pulled up and down.
Tiffany, can you see on here how to mute her?
Lisa, is it Lisa? If you could mute yourself, that'd be great.
Okay, cool.
Oh, I think we're good now. Okay. So stop placing the guilt on yourself. Start with a positive mindset and don't shit on yourself. Don't put yourself in a place where I should be doing this, I should be doing that, because you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. We don't want to do that. So strategy number 2 is a vision. I feel like this is something that I'm like, Melody is a big picture thinker, Emily Petty, big picture thinkers. I'm like a task person. Like that's my strength. So vision is really hard for me to kind of put myself in this bigger picture of what I want. But one of the things that has helped me is to put this onto my personal life, to kind of think big picture, because it's easier for me to think big picture in my personal life than it is in my business. But then I can relate it and how I break things down back into my business. So for me, I have 4 kids, 11, 9, 5, and 2. And when my husband and I first got married and we were talking about kids, like I've always wanted 4 kids, because my vision, I've had a vision since I was a teenager of me being 80 years old at the Christmas dinner with my 4 kids, their spouses, and like 25 grandkids. That was my vision that I had. And now when I have bad days with the 2 and 5-year-old, and I'm like, ugh, I remember that vision because that's what keeps me on course and makes me want to be a better mom, want to be a better wife, because I have that vision in my head. And so in our businesses, we have that big vision of what we want, but what we need to do is then take that vision and break it down. So what does that look like? We take our big vision and we break it into smaller goals that are going to work us towards that vision. And then we break those goals down into the daily tasks and the weekly tasks and the monthly tasks that are then going to ultimately move us to that bigger vision. And there are lots, I know Emily Petty's done vision training. I know we'll probably do another training like that goes more into depth on this in the future, but you need to have your why. You need to know why you're doing this business. What is it for? What are your goals? What kind of income do you want to make? What do you want your family to look like? And I encourage you to not just say, I want to make $1,000 a month, because there's no emotion behind that. It's like, if it doesn't happen, you're like, oh, whatever. But I want to take my family on a trip to Disney. I put pictures of Disney up. I like get the kids excited and get on board and bring them on board with my vision. So telling them like, hey, mom needs to work tonight because I want to take you guys to Disney, or letting them know what my vision are so everybody can be on board together. Sorry, I lost my page here. So we have our big vision. We break them down to goals and tasks. Let's see. The biggest part of time management, and this kind of goes into vision and goals, is to know what you need to do when you need to do it. And I feel like this is probably the hardest part, especially for if this is not your full-time gig, like you're working, you're a mom, you've got another side hustle, whatever. If you go to sit and work your HempWorks business and you're like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do right now, the chance of you actually accomplishing anything is pretty slim, because it's like you sit down and you're overwhelmed. Like, I don't even know what to do. And so the biggest hack that I can give you as far as time management goes is to plan. So you sit down and you say, okay, every Monday I'm going to do this. Every Tuesday I'm going to do this. And during my power hour or my 15-minute increments throughout the day, these are the tasks that I'm going to do. So using some sort of a paper planner or a Trello or something like that, that you can ahead of time go through and say, okay, I need to follow up with 10 people. I'm going to do that on Tuesdays, my power hour from 11 to 12 or whatever, and scheduling those times and then guarding that time so that you're actually working and building your business through those times. We all have the same amount of time in a day. So those that are successful have the plan and they follow that plan. And start somewhere. If you set no goals, you're going to accomplish no goals. So all you have to do is make one small step It does not have to be, this is not about perfection. This is not about like being the most organized person ever. This is about you putting your business on the top list of your priorities and then planning out the time that you're going to spend on your business. And FitFu is a great system for this because it automates so much stuff. It makes follow-up super, super easy. There's Trello. There's so many other things that you can use to like time block your schedule. And if anybody has questions on like resources or anything like that, be happy to talk to you. So strategy number, or let's see, my pages are, okay. So strategy number 3 is to actually work the plan. So we changed our mindset. We're positive. We're ready to go. We set our big goal. So now we have to like do it, right? We have to just change the diaper if you're a mom. Like, you know, they had a blowout, you just got to do it. So my mom references there. So a lot of that is going back to what I just talked about, is knowing when you're going to do things, having a system, having a planner, whatever, just starting somewhere to have that system. So there's a study that says you're 42% more likely to achieve your goals just by writing them down. So it's super important that you're writing these things down and getting them out of your head and kind of trying to like envision what this could look like. So here's an example of kind of like what I do to keep myself organized. I have Google Calendar that I share with my husband that has all of our appointments. So anytime like one of us needs to be somewhere, it is on the Google Calendar. So like my mom lives with us and she's on the Google Calendar too. So she knows if she has to be home early because we've got something going on. I use Trello for any reoccurring tasks. So I have a weekly board, and like what's nice about Trello is if you haven't seen it before, it's kind of like a big whiteboard with sticky notes on it. Like that's the only way I can use it. It's a project management software. It's free. And what you can do is you can add task lists and all different sorts of fun stuff in there. And I could do a whole training just on that. But I've been using it for about 2 years, and it's really great for anything that's a reoccurring task. Like say on mail day, you know, you've got thank you notes, birthday cards, anniversary cards, or whatever, like some personal stuff. Well, if you had a note card that told you exactly the 10 things that you mail every single week, and you just plug that in, and once a week you did mail, how much of a time saver would that be? Or every time you go to balance your checkbook and do your personal finances, you have a little task list of the 10 things you have to do. Or chores, how to clean the bathroom. And what's great is when, you know, your kids get older, you can just send them the Trello board and delegate that stuff. But same thing with your business. Say, okay, I need to follow up. Here's how I follow up. Here are like scripts of words that I use. You could use that to house all of that information. And so you could easily go in there, copy and paste, or just have a list of who you have to follow up with and what. Now, I'm transitioning all of my Trello stuff into FitFu because that's automated and Trello is not automated. But I feel like like FitFu is more for who to follow up with, and Trello is how to follow up, your systems, and also like anything like calendar related or schedule related where you do reoccurring tasks every single week. It's a great system to use. And then a paper planner. If you're a paper person and you like to cross off on lists, paper planner is great. Sorry, I'm not even reading the notes, so I'm gonna have to go back in there and read them later. Let's see. A couple other things that can really help you with getting things done is having a specific space that you work that is not cluttered or overwhelming. And I know that that's not always feasible, but one of the things that I did before I had like an office, and my office is even shared by like there's lots of things going on back here. But before we had this open, I just had a cute bag that I had like my mobile office in. And before I sat down to work, I would just clean off the kitchen table. So it was completely empty of clutter. And I would sit there, pull up my bag, had all my stuff, and I would just put it back when I was done. So having some sort of space, and also a timer, because so many times, like if you're going and you got to follow up with 25 people, how many times like do you just start scrolling Facebook instead of following up the people because you get sucked into a notification? So having a timer and saying, okay, for the next 20 minutes, I'm only going to follow up with people. You set the timer and make it a game for yourself. I'm telling you, you will get so much more done when you gamify things. If you're like a competitive person, you can totally gamify everything and it will make a huge difference. And that works with your kids too. Like, okay, guys, I need to work for 20 minutes. I want you to go, and we're big on challenges in my house. Like, okay, I want you to build a fort using every single pillow you can find in the house. And they will like build a fort. And then the next challenge is now put it all away. But making it fun for your kids too, if you're a mom like me. So I read once that our brains can only focus for about 90 minutes before we need to take a break. And so making sure that you're not burning your brain out and you aren't scheduling more than about an hour and a half at a time of like focused work, and giving yourself breaks. And a lot of that goes to that blocking your calendar time too. And I need to say this, this has been a challenge of mine, but we need to stop multitasking. It actually causes more harm than good. We don't get anything done, or it's not good work when we're multitasking. For me, it's really, really hard to get focused time, but I try to if I'm only multitasking with my kids in the background in the one project that I'm working on, I try to shut everything else down and work on one thing. And even if it's like, okay, I only need 5 minutes and I got to get this done and then work on the next thing, because it actually inhibits our productivity. There's lots of research on how that happens, but if you can make a conscious effort to focus on the important, you're going to make strides in your business, because it's just the way that our brain works. Our brain is not meant to multitask. So shut down Facebook, shut down Pinterest, and only put, if I'm following with people, I literally only leave Messenger up. And I only go through the messages. And if anybody messages me while I'm doing it that isn't someone I'm following up with, I just ignore and keep going. So strategy number 4 is focus. And this kind of goes back to, are we being interrupted a million times by trying to multitask? But there's so many things coming at us all day long, notifications, dings, like kids and all the things. So try and, if you can, I've shut most notifications off. Like literally the only notification that comes through anymore is my clients that I do virtual assistant work for and my husband. Like that's it. Like I don't get notifications for anything else. Like I have to go into all of the pages and everything and read them every day. And so I just schedule 20 minutes a day to go in and check what's going on. But I shut off all the notifications because it was driving me crazy. Every 2 seconds I'd have a ding. And it was killing my productivity. So turn things off and then schedule time to go in and check those things when you need to. And plus that, it really shows you which things you don't necessarily need to be checking all the time. So focused work over time will generally equate to higher productivity and efficiency. So really being intentional with your time and focusing in. And you have to question, like, are these focused tasks that I'm doing right now helping me achieve my higher goals? Obviously, in this type of business, sales, recruiting, and follow-up are bread and butter of what's going to grow our business. So are you doing those things, or are you organizing your office? Is anybody else when I get overwhelmed, I'm like, I'm just going to clean my office because that means I worked today, right? Instead of doing the things that I know are going to grow my business. So make sure you're not getting stuck in that creative avoidance. And now this is another sensitive. Usually when I say this, people are like, that's just not me. If you are like a pile person, you have your piles, that's not a bad thing. But if your piles are helping you be productive, if you're like, I'm really disorganized and I have piles, well, then maybe we need to fix that. So the organization piece, I know it's kind of like it touches a nerve with people. Like, well, that's just not me. That's not how I work. Well, maybe how you're trying to work isn't working for you. Is it the best system for what you want to accomplish, right? If you're really disorganized and you're stuck, then maybe we need to learn. Okay, being organized is a learned discipline. It's not something you come out of the womb and I'm KonMari out of the womb. She taught herself to be like that, right? It's a skill that we learn, just like sales, just like recruiting. There's skills that we learn. You can be organized. You can teach yourself skills on how to be. I didn't always have a whole packet of 2-hour training on how to be organized. It's something that I've learned over the years because it's something that I grew up with, kind of lived in a hoarder situation, and I knew that that's not what I wanted. And so I taught myself how to live like this and how to do things in a way that's systematically, that's efficient. And so it's something you can teach yourself if you're at the place where like, okay, this system that I'm doing right now is not working. Okay. And clutter, like clutter, mental clutter, digital clutter, space clutter. I can't say it enough. If you struggle with clutter, you need to find a way to like minimize as much as you can, because I can tell you this, there are programs I have on the sheet that I'm going to post on the back. Or the last page, there's some resources. There's a gal named Ali Casaza, and she has a decluttering course. I went through that last year, and it takes you room by room. She's really down to earth. She's really fun. Takes you room by room in your house and helps you declutter. She's like a minimalist, but she's not like a weird minimalist. I mean, she's like a normal person. I feel like sometimes it can't go that way, but I would highly, if you were like drowning in clutter, I would highly recommend her program. It's like maybe $100, I don't know, but it's all audio, so you can listen to it while you're like, cleaning your bathroom or whatever. But clutter can be a huge deterrent. If you're trying to sit there at the kitchen table and work and all you see is a pile of bills or a pile of mail, and that's all you can focus on because it's right there, it's gonna inhibit your productivity, because your mind is not on the task that you're trying to do. Your mind is on what you need to do in the future, or then you put your work down and you go and handle that because it's like irritating you so much. So having a space is huge, because you can like kind of shut those things out and say, I'm gonna work. But if you don't have a space, trying to remove the clutter and have systems for the clutter and cleaning out will totally help your brain. So strategy number 5 is what I like to call my magic sauce, and that is systems. Like having systems in place so that any task that you do the same way every single time, you have a system for. The easiest way to explain this is household chores, because I mean, I'm stay-at-home mom most of the time and I need to clean my house. And so like laundry, errands, cleaning. And one system that I implemented in my house in laundry is that the night before, like at night, I put in a load in the washer. Then first thing in the morning, I put it in the dryer. And then at lunchtime, I take it out, fold it, and put it away. There's 7 people in my house. If I do that every single day, we never get behind on laundry, and we don't have to have the dreaded laundry day where there's like 80 loads and you just want to like jump off a cliff because you're like, this is awful. So that's a system. It's just doing the same thing every single day. And we can do that in our businesses where we maybe have theme days, and we have the follow-up Friday where we do all our follow-up on Friday. And we have Monday where it's motivational Monday, or where we do our goal planning and we, talk to our team members. And maybe Tuesdays we're doing mail and we're doing drawings and we're doing giveaways, or whatever the system is. And if you can follow the system we already have in place with like getting pre-enrollees, plugging them to events and all that stuff, and kind of then tweaking your personal system to go along with that. So you're doing tasks, focused tasks on each one of those days of the week. That's a system. And that's something that you decide what works best for you. But it's gonna help you get in the frame of mind, and it's almost like forming a habit. You then don't have to think about it because you've done it the same way every single time. Think of it kind of like a manual. Like if you were to write a manual for your business, like most corporations they have their set things they do on certain days or certain months or whatever. Wouldn't that be helpful if you had a manual that you could just wake up and say, these are the 5 things I need to do today. And then you don't have to think about any of the rest because that's your only thing. And theme days, I feel like have been a huge help for me in the past and a lot of people I've talked to. So like I have theme days for my household chores. Monday's kitchen day, Tuesday's bathrooms. And it's been like that for a year. And so I just know Mondays I clean the kitchen, Tuesday I clean the bathroom. And then it goes through. And I don't have to think about it because it's been that way for so long. That's the same thing with our business, having those theme days. And remember, these are just ideas to kind of get you thinking. My way is not your way. It's going to look different for all of us. Like there is not a perfect system out there. There's not a perfect way to be productive. These are just kind of things to get you started to think about ways that you could kind of rearrange your schedule and make things more efficient. And you just need to take one step. Like, don't think, oh, you need to implement all of these things. You will get overwhelmed. Take one thing. I always recommend take the one thing that is totally driving you crazy right now. Is it follow-up? Well, then join FitFu. We have everything in there already for you. You can join that for 20 bucks. Well, I think there's what is it? It's now 20 bucks a month. But I think if we get 100 people on our team account, it'll go down. Oh, sorry. My cat's trying to like climb on my computer. So 20 bucks a month, and we have all the funnels and everything there for you. Now, if follow-up you feel like you're good with and it's your calendar, well, then start Google Calendar, do a Trello, whatever you need to do. But start somewhere. Start with the thing that's just like, maybe it's your house and you have all this clutter and you have no chore routines. And so you need to start there so you have more time for your business, because your house is the thing that's, does that make sense? And then strategy number 6 is it's all about simplicity and consistency. So I gave you a lot of stuff, right? A lot of tips and things, and that sounds not simple. But when you break it down and you can piece things together, you want to find a system that is simple for you to implement, but there's going to be lots of pieces to that system, if that makes sense. So like, say, one example might be, okay, well, I have a calendar for my corporate job. I have a calendar for my HempWorks business, and then I have my personal calendar. Well, maybe you find one calendar that you can put all 3 things in, so you only have one calendar. Okay. Or maybe I'm a paper person and I don't have to share my calendar with anybody. So I just use a paper calendar or a planner. Maybe I like to note everything, and maybe I don't use notes on my phone, and then reminders, and then Facebook Messenger, and then Evernote, and then Trello. But I pick one that's my favorite, and I put all of my notes in there. And that's how I am with Trello. Like, I have everything in there. I have like trainings I've done. I have just my entire life, editorial calendars, all sorts of stuff. So just pick one platform that's your favorite and use that, so that you're not looking in 10 different places for something that you wrote or whatever. And then consistency. Honestly, it's taking a small step every single day. You don't stand at the base of 2,000 stair, like, what are I'm trying to think of like one of those big buildings that has like all the stairs going up of it. You don't start at the bottom being like, okay, I can like totally jog this. You take one step at a time, and we work our business like that. We take one step at a time. So start with the big thing. Start with the thing that's just driving you crazy, that you seem to like keeps pulling you down, whatever that is in your schedule, and then takes those small steps. Because remember the story, the turtle wins, right? The rabbit got distracted and wasn't consistent. Life lessons. So it's okay to be a turtle. When I really started on this journey of evaluating my systems and my time management, I tended to overcomplicate everything. And I think that we all have a tendency to do that. And so just identify those areas that you're making too difficult, and then pivot and tweak. So start with the system and then pivot and tweak. You don't need to overhaul anything. Just start somewhere and make small adjustments. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It only needs to be good enough. Okay. So when you do something, is this good enough? And then move on. Like I know like Emily Petty and I are similar in like, we struggle with perfection, like making things like, oh, just so perfect. And I've really had to get over and just say, okay, is this good enough for what I need? Yes. Okay, let's do it and move on, because it'll just suck you in. So just wrapping up, a few thoughts. Time management is really about knowing exactly what needs to be done and when, keeping your focus on your path, on your big vision, on what you want out of your life and your business, and then intentionally taking small steps forward. It's okay if we don't achieve our goals. Not achieving our goals is not failing, it's learning, it's growing. So we have to look at failure. I feel like a lot of people are afraid to write down goals because they're like, well, if I don't achieve the goal, then I failed. And that's not the mindset that we want. You don't achieve the goal, you learned, you pivot, and you make a new goal and you go forward. We grow, we improve, we get better. If we set no goals, we're not going to accomplish any. So we have to set something. Okay, I don't know, Melody, should I look through, are there questions in here that you saw that I can answer quick?
I think it'd be great if we opened it up for questions for a few minutes. And then people can either unmute themselves or type them in if you're down with that.
Yeah, I totally am. And while I'm waiting, I will save this strategies sheet that I have that has some action steps on it in all the team pages. And then I will also save my little goal sheet in there as well. So if you guys want to take a look at that, you're more than happy to. I'm reading all the comments about the dog. That's funny.
If anybody has questions, feel free to just unmute yourself and ask away.
I covered everything, I guess. Yep, paper planners.
Hi, this is during the day. Is it that you find with a lot of children that this works for you to run your business, to do that hour to hour and a half?
I never have a full hour to an hour and a half. I do small chunks. I work in the in-between time because that works for my schedule, because I'm driving around. So a lot of times, like sending Facebook messages, I use voice chat because I'm driving most of the time. I like have kids in 3 different activities. I'm driving everywhere. But you couldn't do that if you didn't know who you were supposed to contact. So if I have my list of 10 people in the morning of who I need to send messages to, that day, then I have that list and I can do that throughout the day in my in-between time. So I feel like some people have that full hour and a half. Is that what you're asking? Oh, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, I was wondering, because you referenced before like an hour and a half. So I was wondering, where are you finding that? Because before I started my HempWorks business, I didn't have one. I mean, I still wasn't able to get the laundry folded and put away things at the end of the day. So and there was no time where I was sitting on the couch eating bonbons either. So I'm like, when am I going to fit this in?
Yeah. And I think as a busy mom, trying to find those in-between times, and one actually, this is a great thing that you can do, is time track your days. This was a huge eye-opener for me. Is for 3 days, I wrote down everything I did and how long it took me to do it. It was kind of a chore. But like, okay, change the diaper, 2.5 minutes, go to the bathroom, 4 minutes, make dinner, 35 minutes or whatever. So you mark down the time in, time out, and I might even have a printable. I'll share that too. I think I have a printable that you can use to time track. But doing that for 3 days, you analyze and you can really see where your time sucks are. Like, is it mealtime? Is mealtime taking so long that so could you like prep meals ahead of time so that mealtime went easier? Like, are you spending so much time in the car driving kids around that you can't work your business? Well, what things can you do in the car? You can send voice messages. Like you could, what are the things that, like, you're waiting for someone at dance class? Like, could you do a couple things there? Could you send off a couple messages or update your FitFu or whatever? So kind of like looking for those breaks in your day to fit the stuff in. It's definitely harder for us that have kids and work at home with our kids, because to find those times is hard. I've also had to give myself grace on my house and know that in this season of my life with little kids, it's like trying to brush my teeth while I'm eating Oreos. Like, as I'm cleaning up, they're making a mess. So it's like, why even bother? So I try to keep things clean, but at the same time, it's not always tidy. But I've given myself that break because I'm trying to build a business, and my house can be a little bit messy right now, as long as like the kids are fed, they're all clean. We don't have like, dirt on the floor, but the toys are out, and that's okay. Like, I've given myself that like, I'm okay living like that right now, because I'm in a season where I'm trying to build a business and I have toddlers. So it's impossible. Does that help?
Emily, I want to hear what you had to say.
If that's okay, I just want to jump in on this too, because as a mom of 3, when I started in network marketing, my kids were 2, 3, and 6. And we've been doing network marketing as our full-time income or the majority of our income now for 5.5 years. And I think that it comes down to, number one, your priorities. Go back to that why. Like, is this something that you want to do? Is this a business that you are trying to build? Do you have something for your family or for yourself or for your community that you are investing in this business on purpose to accomplish? And if you are, it's kind of like when our family's in baseball season. My 9-year-old plays baseball and he's pretty intense about it. Sometimes I wonder what we've done with building this like deep love for baseball in this kid. But when it's baseball season, we kind of readjust some things and we adjust where we're spending our time to be able to prioritize that investment for him. And it's 100% worth it. So for me, it's not just, I feel like if you go, I don't expect my laundry to ever be done, that sounds like, well, you're really lowering your standards in order to build a business. And is that something that's really okay? And I think we have to be really careful with how you think about those things and how your mindset goes. Because for me and for my household, my kids now are 7, 9, and 12, and we're in multiple activities and we're going everywhere all the time. And there's really not a goal anymore in our house to have all of the laundry clean and put away all of the time. That's just it's not realistic, whether I'm doing network marketing or not. And I think that when you have your priorities and you know what you want to do, it also can really be helpful to have your family involved in your why and involved in your priorities so that you can say, hey, everybody, guess what? Cleaning up the living room is not mom's job. It's all of our job. We're all going to work together before bedtime to take 5 minutes or 10 minutes to clean up the living room. And if your kids are tiny, I know that's a little bit different. But it's knowing your plan. It's knowing what you want to do, like Tiffany's been teaching about. Know your why, and then know your work plan. So if you've got 15 minutes, you know what to do in those 15 minutes. If you have 45 minutes, you know what to do in those 45 minutes. But you have to get very intentional. If you're a busy person, you have to get intentional and decide that your why and the reason that you want to build this business matters enough that you are going to make time, because we all have the same amount of time. A lot of us have crazy busy lives in this world, and you've got to decide what you're going to invest your time in. So anyway, that's doing those kinds of activities and investing intentional time is what has led us to have network marketing be our primary source of income. And we've got a lot of flexibility, and it's so worth it. It's so 100% worth it. So that's just why I would jump in on that.
Thank you, Emily. That actually made me think of something else too, is make sure you're delegating. Like, don't take on all of it yourself. Like, if your kids are old enough to help, and I can say my 3-year-old has chores, so you can have them help. Do chore lists, do rewards, whatever you need to do. Like, however they work and however you work, delegate. Ask your husband to ask him to come on board. If he should, like, you guys should be working together. If you have a spouse or a partner, you should be working together to work towards your goals. So, like, delegate, to ask him if one night a week he can make dinner, or put the kids to bed so that you have like maybe an hour of work time, So I don't see any other questions. Melody, did anybody else have questions or thoughts?
Stephanie, I just want to say thank you for asking that question, because I'm sure you are not the only one who is thinking that. And I know a lot of others benefited. Uh-oh, I might have a naked baby. Does anybody else have any questions?
I guess not. Crickets.
I'll ask a quick question. What about FitFu? I know we're going to do the training. Like, what if I feel like I just need an accountability partner to like kick my butt. Like, do this, do that. Trella's not going to do it for me. It's not going to kick my butt. I like the idea of FitFu, but if it weren't for the funnels and stuff you guys already had set up, and Allison saying, I'm going to help you, like, I literally just need to make an appointment with someone to sit down and do it with me, like Kelsey and Emily are doing with the working out. Like, I need help to do it. Hold my hand.
Well, one of the things
Okay.
that Allison and I talked about is maybe setting up a Facebook chat with all of us that are in FitFu and using FitFu, so that as we have questions or as we like need help with something. The other thing that I was going to work on this week, hopefully, because I actually am toddler free this week. My mother-in-law took my 5 and 2-year-old this week, is doing a training album. So it gives you step-by-step, like the first 10 things to do. And then we could have a post too. So if anybody is planning to use FitFu or is currently using it and has thoughts on that, like we're totally open to being the resource. I mean, I've been using it since January, and Allison, I think maybe since February or March. So we know pretty much most of it. And so we want to be a resource. We want people to use it because like that, I feel like that in previous companies, follow-up has always been like kind of the thorn in my side of time suckers. Because you just don't know who to follow up with when, and oh, did I talk to this person? I can't remember. And then you have all these paper lists everywhere, and there's no way to like systemize it. And FitFu has been a really great program because it automates a lot of it. And you just wake up, you pull out your list, and there you go. You have your list of people that you're going to talk to that day. But we want to be a resource for you and make sure anybody that's using it is actually getting their money's worth out of it, because it is an investment. So whoever has, if you have feelings or feedback on that, let either Allison or Melody or I know, because we want that for you guys.
Okay, we'll take one last question if anybody has any, or if not, we'll wrap things up.
Can I speak on that last little thing for 1 second, Maddie? Because I think that that's something that all of us struggle with. And if you're in network marketing, if you're in MLM, if you are your own boss, you are going to struggle with wanting somebody to tell you, what do I need to do today? And calling you and saying, you need to do this business today. And girlfriends, all y'all, I got to tell you, I want that too. And that is not how you build a successful business. It's not going to happen. You're never going to have somebody who's going to call you every single day and remind you that you need to work your business. You are your boss. You are your boss. So be your boss. There's totally ways that you can be your own boss, and you can tell yourself, this is what I need to do. I set reminders on my phone all day long where I forget absolutely everything. And I've been doing it a long time. So reminders on your phone, alarms on your phone, reminders every day of the week that you're going to do follow-up. I have to have it on my phone to remind me, even if I've got it written down, or the day just goes away with me. So I know that it's not what any of us want to hear, that, hey, at the end of the day, this really is up to you. But guys, it is the absolute truth. And if you tell yourself what you want to believe, which is, I need somebody to hold my hand, I need somebody to tell me what's next, you are never going to achieve what you want to achieve, because that's never going to happen. There is nobody who has ever had someone do that for them. And honestly, if that's what you rely on, if that person gets sick, then your business stalls. You are relying on somebody else to tell you what to do. So be your own boss. Set up the things that you need to set up so that you can boss yourself. I'll have, I know Tiffany, you do this too, I'll have staff meetings with myself and be like, okay, girlfriends, I wouldn't hire you today. Today, you are on the scroll train. You are not abiding by your own boundaries. You are just a hot mess express, and you got to deal with yourself. And that is how you got to do it. So accountability groups are awesome. Having battle buddies is amazing, so encouraging and so helpful. But part of the growth and part of the stretch of this business is learning to rely on yourself and growing into all of the abilities and the resilience to be able to do this on your own. So anyway, that's my preaching. I'm going to stop talking now. Sorry.
Beautiful. That was amazing, Emily. And Tiffany.
I have a question.
Oh yeah, Kelly, go ahead.
Hi, how are you? I'm going to ask you guys, just because I have been doing this for a while also, but I also am a working mother full time. I have 3 kids, 1 in college, 2 in high school. What are the 3 or 4 most important things that you check off your list every day? Make sure you do.
I can start. Conversations in network marketing. It's conversations. How many conversations are you having a day? Because you're not going to grow your business unless you're talking to people, whether that's a potential client or a potential affiliate. You have to be having conversations. Now, whatever mode that is, whether it's email, personal, Facebook, whatever, you have to be having conversations. So you start there, right? And then you're plugging people into the system. So you're having the conversations, then you're plugging them into the system, right? And then you're following up with the people. So really, that's the core, that's the meat and potatoes of our business. Have the conversations, plug them in, follow up with them, and then hopefully, you know, the rule of sales is 1 out of 10 is either going to buy or join, generally, or at least going to buy. And then, you know, as you get better at having those conversations, then you're going to get the joining and the growing your business. I know Emily probably has thoughts on this too.
You know, I have thoughts. I think different seasons of the business look different, but there's some non-negotiables. So conversations, exactly what Tiffany said, connecting with people, connecting with new people. You have to connect with new people. If your business stalls, most of the time, a factor in that is not putting new people into your pipeline. So connecting with new people, following up with people who have ordered from you or that you are in conversations with. A lot of times we start a conversation and then we feel like it's not going anywhere, and so we just drop it. And then that person never gets moved down the field towards the touchdown. They just kind of stop wherever they stop. So again, that kind of loops back into conversations for sure. And then getting plugged in, staying in it, staying in the team page, interacting in the team page, interacting with whatever our upline is working on or offering. When you stay present, you stay plugged in, your energy level stays up. If you stop and you disengage, if you only check the team page once a week, if you maybe sometimes look at the chat bot, maybe sometimes don't, if you're not consistently plugging in, your electricity is on and off and on and off and on and off. So staying plugged in, keeping those conversations going every single day. Posting on social media is a great idea. If you've got a plan for that, more is the better. I think that's the expression. It's better to have a plan than to not have a plan. That's what I'm trying to say. But I feel like those are the main things for me. If you stop talking to people, your business stops. And if you unplug from the team page and the resources, then you get into that, I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea what day it is. I didn't know we were offering this to our people. I didn't know that this kind of maybe class was available or this thing was happening. I had no idea. You've got to stay plugged in. Even if that's 5 minutes, stay plugged in. It makes all the difference.
And I just want to add to that conversations. I think sometimes people get overwhelmed by like, well, how am I just supposed to have conversations? And what I like to do is broaden that with saying exposures, because exposures are what start your conversations. So your exposures are going and doing events, posting on social media, saying things that attract, or posting things that are attracting people, or starting conversations, picking up the phone, calling somebody about the business opportunity, or connecting with the gym owner, those kinds of things. So think about exposures when you're trying to think about how do I have those conversations.
And also looking at the other areas of your life that you interact with people, like at Bible study or at book club or at the PTO meeting or whatever, and have meeting people there, like face to face. I know we're in a digital age where everything's social media, but you can still find customers and affiliates face to face. And so making that a priority and changing your focus to, like, not that you're trying to sell them something, but that you're trying to build a relationship so that eventually they're going to ask you what you do and you can share with them, and it's an opportunity. So I always say the best network marketers are the ones who have the most friends. Like, they're just out there making friends, and they're therefore people find out what they do and they're like, oh, I'm interested in that. Emily, you have something to say, or did you just hit the...
Thank you guys so much for showing up this evening and taking the time to invest in yourselves. And thank you so much, Tiffany, for pouring into us tonight, and Emily for your amazing tips. We appreciate both of you guys so very much. I hope you guys took some really great